Friends, we have a message from Betway, the sports betting app that backs you to trust your hockey instincts. If you consider yourself an NHL expert, this is the app for you. If you think you know who's going to win games between the Senators and the Maple Leafs, and the Canadiens and the Jets, and the Flames, and the Oilers and the Canucks, I know I'm mentioning all of the Canadian teams. If that sounds like you should check out the You Lead, You Win offer from Betway. Betway will pay you out as a winner if a team leads 2-0 in any match involving a Canadian team with a $20 max stake. So head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play, and please always play responsibly. We can't forget about Nashville as well. We're holding down a wild card spot right now, and of course have arguably the leading candidate for the Norris Trophy, not named Cale Makar, in Roman Josi, who's just his season's been incredible.
Right. You want to go there now or what?
Let's do it. So for this segment that I decided to put together, I basically put together a couple of moments that have happened over the last little while. And it's not really like the grab bag segment, which I have to inform everyone, I've sort of retired it after that one SDPN meme had me with the McDonald's bag. I was like, all right, you know what? I can't come back from this. So grab bag is dead. And in its place in the meantime, we're just going to call this shout out. So this is just us just acknowledging some moments that have happened the last little while. We don't have to spend too long on them, but Roman Josi, let's start with him first. And the fact that he is, just having he broke the record for most points in a single season by a member of the Nashville Predators, a record once held by Paul Kariya, who spent all of 2 seasons in Nashville. And Roman Josi having an incredible season. And I can't help but think with Roman Josi, he won the Norris Trophy, I forget which year, but he won it in a year where John Carlson was outproducing him and was having a spectacular year statistically. And I thought about like Roman Josi's having an amazing year this year. Like, what if people gave it to Cale Makar, and it would just be crazy ironic if that would happen. But I genuinely think, because of the year that Roman Josi's having, that should be enough for him to win the Norris this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the voters feel. Like, it's tough for me I don't have as good a sense for this one because I think the award is specifically said the best sort of all-around defenseman. So offensive play counts, but defensive acumen does too. And I'm not knocking Josi's defensive play, but someone might build a case for Victor Hedman or Cale Makar that way. But it's pretty hard to ignore 19 goals and 87 points and knowing that he's still got 11 games to add to that. The number that I'm focused on, of course, is 100 because it's been a long, long time since any defenseman had 100 points in the league. And in fact, there's only been 14 individual seasons where a defenseman had 100 points. And what stands out to me about Josi is he's so far beyond his greatest season in terms of production. I think 65 points was his career high before this year. And he's 31. Like, this is the point where you would expect some age-related decline for any player. It's certainly no shot at him, no slight at him. And even if you look at the guys in the 80s, like the defensemen who were getting 100 points, none of them did it at 31. The oldest was Paul Coffey at 28 to ever have a 100-point season as a defenseman. So you're seeing something that really, it's difficult to explain. It's difficult because, first of all, defensemen just don't get 100 points. And secondly, he's doing it in his 11th NHL season, which is quite something. Like, I'm talking to you about Austin Matthews' season. He's in his 6th year. Like, I'm saying this could be the actual peak of his career. And I think he'll have a whole bunch of great seasons after this. But, it's difficult for players to get better or get more productive as they get into the back half of their 20s, let alone their early 30s. And so I think that's part of the Josi season that's maybe been overlooked. I mean, it's almost hard for me to explain. I'm not sure there is an explanation other than it is this year, of course, league-wide where scoring's gone up. But his personal scoring rate has gone up so much that, tip your cap to him. And you're right. I think certainly he's going to be getting a lot of Norris votes. I'm curious to see how that one falls, though, because I think there's one of 3 players that could conceivably get that award.
So this is an elaborate way of saying that if you were asked to make a pick for the Norris Trophy today, you could not make that pick.
I haven't looked at it close enough. My gut tells me, though, I would be Roman Josi, but I haven't done the kind of work I'll do, before my ballot's due in a few weeks' time. But my gut suggests it'll be Josi. Earlier in the year, I would have told you it was definitely going to be Makar. I think there was a time when I probably said Hedman too. I think Hedman's had a great year. This has probably been Hedman's best regular season out of the last couple. But there's three obvious choices to me in that spot, and those will probably be your three finalists. I just don't yet know what order they'll go in. And look, some of it will be dependent on what happens between now and the end of the year. I think it's like the one thing everyone looks past. We've all enjoyed having this Hart Trophy conversation, debate, what have you. But it's like if Matthews goes cold over the last 10 games, it will look differently upon the whole season, than if we were voting today. And so it's hard to, 10 games, a lot can happen, good and bad. And so the same with Josi. Maybe he charges to the finish, he gets over 100 points. I think then it'd be really tough to deny him. But maybe the season goes wrong. Maybe Nashville slides out of a playoff spot that could affect him. All these sort of things can happen. And so I try not to lock in my vote mentally even early, because I think it's unfair. I mean, you're judging the whole season and there's still an eighth of the season to play.
That is true. So, we have to shout out Roman Josi there. The next person I want to shout out is Sidney Crosby. Got himself his 1,400th career point against the Nashville Predators on Sunday. No big deal. Just Sidney Crosby just reaching 1,400 points for his NHL career.
In game 1,100, if you like round numbers, it was nice round number day.
That's a really nice round number for the man formerly known, or I guess people still call him Sid the Kid, but dude he's not a kid anymore. We don't need to do this.
He's not. And we talk about age-related decline. He's also, if you look at his points per game rate, he's 1.23. I looked this morning, points per game. He had one season about 4 or 5 years ago that was a little bit above that. But if you look back to his last 10 seasons, this is his second best season of those 10 years in points per game. So, I think that we're seeing a trend here. Look, all players league-wide that are talented and good are having better years than they've had because there's more goals and stuff. But, give Crosby credit with where he's at. He turns 35 in August. To be having that kind of year, I think he's probably slipped a little bit below the radar. He also in Sunday's game, he scored his 19th overtime winner. I think that's second on the all-time list. I think it was his 58th overtime point, which is the most in NHL history. And he's 22. He actually moved into 22nd on the all-time scoring list. Ovechkin's 21st, just a couple points ahead. We're seeing these guys for so long. They were the young faces of the league. They put their own charge into the NHL back 15 years ago. Well, now we're just watching them march up this all-time points list, and let's hope we still got a number of years left with them. But certainly both, I think, more than capable of getting inside the top 10 of that, because as we're seeing, Crosby's scoring at a rate that would almost be 100 points, a little bit less than a 100-point rate right now had he played the full season.